Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is all about dialogue, writing dialogue, improving your dialogue, and the difficulties of dialogue. So I realized in thinking about this topic that I have no interest actually in telling you how to write good dialogue. Writing dialogue it's challenging and it's really fun, and there's no way to do it correctly because it's entirely contingent on what type of story you're telling, what genre you're working in, what tone you're going for. So really, I'm not interested in showing you, this is how to write good dialogue. What I am kind of interested in doing though is kind of showing you a technique that works for me when I approach dialogue, and I think it's transferable to any type of dialogue, regardless of the story you're telling. I think it is useful, so I would like to share it with you. So, without further ado, we're gonna move over to my computer and just gonna read a little bit of something I've been working on, and then we're gonna talk about it. I'm going to just read the first page and then we can talk about it. Jada walked into the kitchen. She scanned the cabinet on her tiptoes and then spun around. Her mom was wrapping a present at the table. The red paper glistened in the morning light. "You're using my mug," Jada said. Vera glanced at the half-empty mug by her side. It was white, embellished with the blue jay. I wasn't aware. I use it basically every morning. You never told me it was your mug. You didn't notice? Nope. Sorry, hon. Vera smiled as she folded a crease and applied scotch tape. Jada mimed disbelief as she grabbed a blue mug with red stripes and turned on the kettle. Then she found the last bagel in the pantry and stuck it between her teeth. She tried to set the empty plastic bag on the counter, but it slid off and floated to the linoleum tile. She took a bite and watched her mom. "What are you giving Uncle Enrique for his birthday?" she said. "Oh, I've got this blender." Vera picked up the empty bagel bag from the tile and gently folded it. "The one you won at that raffle, and that's been sitting in the closet all year?" Vera nodded. "How nice of you," Jada said, and turned off the kettle. Vera set the bag in the recycling bin and returned to the wrapping paper. "Look, it's a fine blender. I'm sure your uncle could use a new one." Jada scratched her chin and tilted her head up. "You always used to say, it's the thought that counts. Since when do you... You know what? Never mind. Why don't you go warm up the car? It's freezing outside and we're already running late." Jada shook her head with a smirk and grabbed the keys from the hook. Vera said, Just for this afternoon, while we're over there, maybe you could have my back?" Jada paused, looked at the floral wallpaper, and shrugged. Then she spun the keyring around her finger and went outside. The screen door smacked against the frame. Okay, so this is just the beginning of a short story. So we've got a daughter and her mom, and they are getting ready to go to the uncle's birthday party. So what I'm trying to do in this initial scene is I'm trying to create some tension. I'm trying to escalate things a little bit. And the way I'm doing that is just by kind of looking at these sort of ordinary objects in the kitchen, and I'm trying to create these disruptions of normalcy. And I think what's useful at this point is to kind of just look at the parts of the scene. And so it's a dialogue scene between the mom and the daughter talking about various things. But I've got these kind of four objects that are kind of constitute the parts of the scene. And so I think it's useful to just kind of look at those and sort of lay them out. So first up, we've got when Jada walks in the kitchen, the first thing she notices is that her mug that she likes to use is not there, and then she sees that her mom is using it. So first part is the mug. And so that creates a problem because she doesn't have her daily mug. And then her mom doesn't seem to really care. She doesn't notice that her daughter uses that mug all the time. And so we've already got a little bit of tension there. And then I would say the next part would probably be, I think it would be this empty plastic bag here. Jada takes the last bagel, and it's one of those little plastic bags that bagels come in, and uh, she tries to place the bag on the counter, and it just falls to the floor. There's sort of a carelessness about the action. Um, she just sort of lets it slide, and she doesn't pick it up. Instead, she bites into the bagel and is curious about what her mom is wrapping for the Uncle Enrique. Um, and then mom says it's a blender, but then she goes and picks up the bagel bag and gently folded it. I think that's kind of interesting. There's just this care in the mom and a recklessness in the daughter. And I kind of am trying to get at that through this gesture. So far, the two parts, we've got the mug. The mom is kind of at fault there. Uh, and then we've got the bag, and the daughter's sort of at fault. So they're sort of even at this point. Um, and now we've got this little drama about the gift. So the gift would be the third part. Um, and here, the daughter is critical of the mom because the mom hasn't really gone to much trouble to give Uncle Enrique a nice gift. She's just taken this blender that's been sitting in the house all year and is like, I'll just give him that. And the daughter is, that's not the most thoughtful gift, especially because the mom has, kind of preached this message, here it's the thought that counts. So it's not the quality of the gift, it's how much thought you put into it. And so here I would say with this third part, the daughter kind of comes out on top. She's got a good point. She's kind of critical of her mom for, not getting the best gift. And then the last part here, I would say, would be the car keys. So this is the fourth part. So Jada goes and grabs the keys, and she's going to go outside and warm up the car. At this point, we've got this tension. I would say that initially it was, I mentioned it was an even scale between the daughter and the mother. Daughter sort of tips the scale in her favor because of the drama with the gift. And now the mom, she sort of asks her daughter the last minute here, just for this afternoon, while we're over at Uncle Enrique's, maybe you could have my back. And you got this little moment of suspense. Jada pauses. She's looking at the floral wallpaper, thinking about it, and then she just shrugs. So it's kind of up in the air exactly what Jada's going to do. It's up in the air why Vera, would ask her daughter to have her back to begin with. But there's this little, kitchen drama going on, and it ends in a kind of indecisive note, which leads, to the next part of the story, which I won't get into now, but the point is that we have these four parts. We kind of see how they relate to each other. And their main purpose is to kind of create this tension, it's an escalating tension as well. And ultimately, that leaves us with a question. So the question again is, why is the mom asking the daughter to have her back? And we're going to find out later in the story when they go to the uncle's and spend the afternoon there for the birthday party. But, this is just a way to take these kind of basic, normal things you might, encounter in a kitchen, and it kind of sets the scene. And it has this sense of, the everyday, the quotidian, but it also has tension and hopefully a little bit of suspense. And it keeps you reading because it raises a question. And really that's what you're trying to do. You're constantly trying to raise these questions, and the reader is kind of wondering, okay, where is the writer taking me here? What exactly is going on? Well, let's find out on the next page. So that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish. And when you're writing dialogue, I think that's really what you're looking to do. You write the dialogue, and then you just have these three questions. You have, what are the parts? How do they relate to each other? And what is the question that you have leaving the scene? And that's pretty much it. It's pretty basic, but it's easy to kind of forget that. Sometimes you just write a dialogue scene without really thinking about what the dialogue is accomplishing. But you have to remember that, the reader is giving you their time, and the more thought and care you put into the dialogue and put into the actual components of the scene, the more the reader is going to kind of pick up on the craft and the care that you have put into it, and they will be on board and kind of ready to continue on with the story. If you don't put in that thought and care, you can lose your reader pretty quickly. So those are things to do when you are trying to write some dialogue. I don't know if this is really dramatic and compelling. I'm doing my best with it. I might change it up a little bit. This is still kind of the first draft of the story. So you might not actually think this is that interesting, but I still think that the page does have those core elements that I mentioned, those three things that you need to keep track of. And as long as you have those three things in your mind, whether you like this at all, that's up to you. I don't even know if I like it yet, but it does have the three parts that I like to keep in mind. And then from there, you just keep writing the story, and then you can, go back at the end and just see how it works. And then from there, you revise. All right, so I hope you found that somewhat helpful. It actually helps me personally just to look at my work and kind of ask myself, does it have parts? Do the parts actually relate to each other? And is there a question that I have at the end? And kind of going through that exercise, I kind of realized, whether the piece I have is any good or not, it does check those three boxes off. So I know I'm on the right track. And then I'm not even thinking yet, if the dialogue's any good. I just need to finish the story and then revise until it's ironed out and I'm happy with it. But again, dialogue is quite challenging. I don't want to prescribe any sort of method to actually write the dialogue itself. That's totally up to you. I would recommend reading other books that have great dialogue. Richard Ford's Wildlife comes to mind as a book that has really odd kind of experimental dialogue. Definitely would check that out. I would also check out, good movies with great dialogue. Anything by Kenneth Lonergan, I tend to really like. Both his movies and his plays are also really good. And then, having conversations with people is really helpful as well. Just talking to people. And if you're not talking to people, listening to people. All of that, I think, is really beneficial for the dialogue itself. But again, this video is not about that so much. It's more about how to structure a scene that has dialogue and how to go about making it dramatic, giving it tension, and making sure the reader's going to keep going once that dialogue scene is over. So hope you found it helpful. And if you did, please give the video a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That definitely is helpful for me. And that's pretty much all I've got today. So we'll see you next time.